What if I told you that every time you walk on a sidewalk, flush a toilet, or check the calendar on your phone, you're using technology invented over 2,000 years ago? The Roman Empire, which dominated the Mediterranean world from 27 BC to 476 AD, didn't just conquer territories. They engineered solutions to everyday problems that were so effective, we're still using them today. Let's start with something you probably used this morning: concrete. The Romans didn't invent concrete, but they perfected it in ways that modern engineers are still trying to replicate. Roman concrete, or opus caementicium, was made from volcanic ash, lime, and seawater. Here's the remarkable part: Roman concrete actually gets stronger over time, especially when exposed to seawater. Modern concrete crumbles after decades, but Roman structures like the Pantheon have stood for nearly 2 millennia. Scientists only recently discovered that the volcanic ash creates a rare mineral that reinforces the concrete as seawater interacts with it. Today, researchers are studying Roman concrete recipes to create more sustainable building materials for our future. Now let's talk about something less glamorous but equally important: sewage systems. The Cloaca Maxima, Rome's Great Sewer, was built around 600 BC and is still functioning today. The Romans understood that public health depended on removing waste efficiently. They built extensive underground sewer networks throughout their cities, connecting public latrines and bathhouses to rivers and the sea. This wasn't just about convenience, it was revolutionary public health infrastructure that prevented disease outbreaks. Modern cities still follow the same basic principle of underground sewage systems that the Romans pioneered. Speaking of bathhouses, the Romans gave us another daily essential: public bathing culture and plumbing systems. They developed sophisticated aqueducts to transport fresh water over vast distances, sometimes hundreds of miles. The Aqua Claudia aqueduct brought water to Rome from 45 miles away. These weren't simple channels. They were precisely engineered structures that used gravity to maintain consistent water flow, incorporating bridges, tunnels, and underground passages. Some Roman aqueducts, like the Pont du Gard in France, still stand as testament to their engineering brilliance. Modern water supply systems use the same gravitational principles the Romans mastered. Let's move to something you interact with constantly: roads. The phrase "all roads lead to Rome" exists for a reason. The Romans built over 50,000 miles of paved roads across their empire. But these weren't just dirt paths. Roman roads were engineering marvels with multiple layers: large stones for foundation, smaller stones and gravel for drainage, sand for leveling, and flat paving stones on top. They were cambered, meaning slightly curved, so water drained to the sides. Many modern European roads follow the exact routes of Roman roads laid down 2,000 years ago. The Appian Way, built in 312 BC, is still usable today. Here's something that organizes your entire life: the calendar. Julius Caesar introduced the Julian calendar in 45 BC, creating the 12-month, 365-day year with a leap year every 4 years. Before this, calendars were chaotic and politically manipulated. Caesar's calendar brought order and predictability. While we now use the Gregorian calendar, introduced in 1582, it's really just a slight modification of Caesar's system. The names of our months come directly from Latin: September from septem, meaning 7, October from octo, meaning 8, and so on. The Romans also revolutionized written communication. They developed the Codex, which is essentially the first book as we know it. Before the Codex, people used scrolls, which were awkward and difficult to reference. The Codex used bound pages that you could flip through, making information much more accessible. Every book, magazine, and notebook you've ever used descends from this Roman innovation. They also created a postal system called the cursus publicus, with relay stations where messengers could change horses, enabling rapid communication across vast distances. Enjoying the video? Please support us by subscribing to the channel today. Let's talk about architecture. The Romans invented the arch, vault, and dome on a massive scale. While earlier cultures used simple arches, the Romans perfected them and understood how to use them structurally. The arch allowed them to build larger, more open spaces than ever before. This innovation made possible their famous amphitheaters, basilicas, and bathhouses. Today, arches appear in bridges, doorways, and buildings worldwide. The dome of the Pantheon, built in 126 AD, remains the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. Its design has inspired countless structures, from the United States Capitol to modern sports stadiums. Here's something that might surprise you: apartments. The Romans invented multi-story apartment buildings called insulae to house their growing urban population. Rome at its peak had over 1 million residents, making it the first true metropolis. These apartment buildings, some reaching 6 or 7 stories, housed the working class. They featured shops on the ground floor and living spaces above, just like modern mixed-use buildings. The concept of urban high-density housing that we take for granted today was a Roman innovation born from necessity. The Romans also gave us central heating. The hypocaust system circulated hot air from furnaces beneath floors and through spaces in walls. Wealthy Romans enjoyed heated floors in their homes and bathhouses. This principle of radiant floor heating is making a comeback in modern green building design. It's more efficient than forced air heating, distributing warmth evenly throughout a space. Let's discuss something more abstract: legal systems. Roman law, particularly the concept of innocent until proven guilty, forms the foundation of many modern legal systems. The Romans developed the idea that laws should be written down and accessible to everyone. The 12 Tables, created around 450 BC, were Rome's first written legal code. Roman legal concepts like contracts, property rights, and the distinction between public and private law still structure legal systems across Europe, Latin America, and beyond. The term jurisprudence itself comes from the Latin jus prudentia, meaning knowledge of law. The Romans even influenced modern medicine and public health. They understood the connection between clean water, sanitation, and health better than any civilization before them. Roman military hospitals were organized with separate wards for different conditions, a practice that continues today. They also developed surgical instruments remarkably similar to modern tools, including scalpels, forceps, and catheters. Here's something you might not expect: fast food. The Romans invented the thermopolium, essentially an ancient fast food restaurant. These establishments had counters with built-in containers holding hot food, serving quick meals to busy urban workers. Archaeologists have uncovered dozens of these in Pompeii, complete with menus painted on walls. The concept of grab-and-go food for people too busy to cook at home is thoroughly Roman. The Roman influence extends even to language. Over 60% of English words have Latin roots. Every time you use words related to law, government, science, or medicine, you're probably using Latin derivatives. Romance languages like Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Romanian evolved directly from Latin. So the next time you walk down a paved road, check your calendar, or turn on a faucet, remember you're using Roman technology. An empire that fell over 1,500 years ago still shapes how we live every single day. The Romans didn't just conquer the ancient world, they engineered solutions so elegant and effective that millennia later we still can't improve on many of them. That's not just history, that's legacy. Thanks for watching. Please support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel.